It's that time of day when we're going to talk about motor skills. And usually when we talk about motor skills, there's 4 different areas of motor skills that we talk about. Gross motor, fine motor, oral motor, and visual motor. And for today, I want to focus a little bit on oral motor. You know, when we were watching the A Word last week, one of the things that they were talking about is that here you have this little boy who has some verbal communication, right? Some vocal communication even. And he has some real eating issues that are a problem. He only is eating things that are very mushed and smushed together, like applesauce and mushed together bananas. And one of the experts was saying this is a problem because as we teach this child language skills, he is not going to have the oral motor capability to be able to be understood because he's not doing enough chewing. So sometimes we have an issue one place and it becomes an issue someplace else. And we really want to be creative, right, when we're dealing with different issues. So I put together some different things to consider that are oral motor. If you have a child that has oral motor issues where they need to be doing facial aerobics and getting those muscles toned, and they don't have eating issues, these are some things that you might want to consider that are really helpful. And if your child does have eating issues, see if any of these categories are things that are textures that they do like so that we can morph exercises. Now, usually we will do exercises by having the child vocalize and say, you know, just what they were doing with Jack Riley a minute ago, say ga. And what you're working on with ga, of course, you're working on the jaw muscles, and you're working on tongue muscles to say ga, and a whole bunch of other things that go along with it, right? When you say ta, you're working on the tip of the tongue. But there are some kids that, first of all, can't make those sounds, or that there are issues that are so severe that it's hampered and they're not getting the reward for it. First of all, we have to reward approximations. But here are some things if you want to try to work on something in a different way. First of all, chewing anything. And try to be as healthy as possible. We have our healthy eating tip coming up in just a few minutes, so be mindful of that. But whether it's something like popcorn, there's a certain amount of chewing that has to happen with popcorn. There are fruit leathers that you can buy that are organic that have no sugar in them, no artificial colors, no nothing. That kind of thing to chew. Just make sure that if your child is having difficulties chewing, that you're not giving them something that they're going to choke on, so give it to them in small pieces. And especially with the fruit leathers, make sure that you're facilitating the brushing the teeth afterwards, because that's the kind of thing that can get stuck in teeth and really create a problem that you don't want to have. So anything where there's, you know, kind of chewing, go slowly, so that your child works up to, and if you've been giving your child mashed bananas, mash it a little bit less each time so that there's a certain amount of chewing, but always go slowly and be monitoring to make sure that they're not going to choke on the thing that they're chewing. Okay, something that I love that people do all the time is taking something like pudding and putting it all, if pudding is something, and make sure you get one that's relatively healthy pudding, putting it all around their mouth, because then what's going to happen is they're going to stick their tongue out and go in a circle. It's one of the exercises that we want our children to do, but where's the paycheck in it, right? Well, if you put the pudding there, there's an automatic paycheck in there. So their favorite flavor of pudding, or you can smear Jell-O or something like that around their mouth, and their tongue comes out, and away they go. It could be, you know, soft ice cream, that kind of thing. One of the other things that I really recommend, if you've seen on Minute to Win It, the cookie races, where they take and put a cookie on somebody's forehead, they're laying back, and they have to move their face around to get the cookie to come down into their mouth, and if the cookie drops to the floor, they have to put it back. You know, do those kinds of races with your kids. You have to demonstrate to them first. There are hilarious videos on YouTube that you can show them to see what it is. Don't even tell them that they're making oral motor things. Don't even let them know. But if you show that to kids and then have other kids demonstrate it, most kids are going to want to participate. They want the cookie and they like the competitive nature of it. So it can be very good, and they're using the muscles and toning them up as they go. Or Another thing that you can do with very small children or children who are having a great deal of oral motor difficulty, and you're wanting to create some muscle things to go first, is sucking fresh fruit popsicles. You can buy, they even make them BPA-free popsicle molds now that you can get almost, but do get the BPA-free ones, and cut up fresh fruit so that it's really manageable and really ripe, so that when it does thaw, it's going to be really easy, but have them suck on the popsicles. They also make these wonderful mesh bags that you can put a piece of fruit in for babies who choke or older children who have difficulties. You can put fruit that's gonna mash a little bit into these mesh bags. It looks like a big ring. So it's got a little bit of a ring to it, and then it's got a mesh bag that clips down. And you can put a peach or strawberries or raspberries or something like that that's really going to be sweet, that's going to be worth the paycheck, and give it to the child and have them suck it out. Over time, they'll get better and better at sucking it. If the child is teething, especially, you can put frozen fruit in there and have them suck it. That's going to create, if you ever sucked on something, it really, oral motor creates a lot of muscle happening stuff going on. It's good stuff. So all of these different things, and then be creative. What else can you do with food to make that the paycheck while they're chewing and moving the things around their mouth? My background is theater, and something that I do when I go into a classroom to help children to warm up is I tell them to chew pretend gum. Now that's an advanced skill, but it's something that we can do with older children. So if you've got a child whose diction isn't great and they're not wanting to do the diction exercises, you can make it as fun as possible. That's the key, is making it fun. But we can make oral motor things fun for the kids so that they're more likely to do the lessons. That's our oral motor tip for the day.